Hello. Good evening. Hello, Doc. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
Uh, All right. Thank you very much. And I think apologies for that. Sometimes we talk about technologies, but it might fail us at some point. So looking at what I was trying to explain earlier, we said we understand the concept of digitalization now. We understand the concept of the need for digitalization. What we did was to look at existing studies and see what has been done within that space of digitalization in order to come up with something reasonable on how to move ahead and ensure that organizations have the right capability to be able to be digitalized. Now, based on that, we realize all 5 areas that have been core area of focus in past studies have not paid significant attention to the aspect of a capability maturity model or guidance for construction organizations. We went further to look at the different countries where these studies have been conducted. And if we look critically from the developing country perspective, and particularly in Africa, there were no studies being done around the concept of digitalization and data capability within the African continent. And this also reinforced the need for a study within this area of discourse. So we realized that we needed to come up with something that organizations could use as a guide towards their digitalization process. Now, based on that, we understand Construction 4.0 proposes that construction processes must be rooted in digital knowledge. That is known. What is also known is the fact that we have lots of studies that have explained the benefits of digital technologies towards construction, design, and operation of projects. However, what we do not know is the capabilities and the maturity of construction organizations to actually be digitalized. Because many of these construction organizations within developing countries, particularly in the African context, are small and medium. Most of the large organizations come in from developed countries to carry out projects within these developing countries. So if we're saying that small and medium organizations should be digitalized, do they have the right capability to be able to achieve this digitalization journey? And also, there's no clear roadmap on how these organizations should achieve this digitalization we're talking about. It therefore became important for us to be able to come up with a capability maturity model or guideline for organizations to be able to adopt digital technologies and be digitalized in the process. That in mind, we looked at what exactly is the role of these data capabilities. 3 key aspects will be achieved in terms of data management, process automation, and collaboration, because these areas are key to construction project delivery. When organizations have the right capability, they will be able to leverage advanced data collection and analytics and use that to optimize decision making, because this becomes very important if we want to be competitive, have that competitive advantage that we talked about in the definition of construction digitalization. Also, if we have the right capabilities, we should be able to integrate intelligent systems in order to streamline the workflow and reduce manual, repetitive, and construction tasks. And if we look at construction carefully, many of the job functions we do are repetitive in nature. I have colleagues that would tell me, I'm tired of being a quantity surveyor because most of the quantity surveying tasks are repetitive in nature. We do measurement the same way over and over again. But with the use of digital technologies, digital tools, we are able to automate these different processes and make it easier. And lastly, collaboration becomes very easier when we are able to use digital tools, because we are able to foster seamless communication and information sharing, which over time has been a critical problem affecting successful delivery of projects. And that was why we came up with the whole concept of building information modeling to foster communication on construction projects. So if we have the right capabilities, we should be able to achieve these key roles of digital capability in construction. So to deliver this targeted capability model, we were able to explore different existing models within that has talked about digitalization, digital technologies, information technology. If we look critically at the italics in front of each of this model, we'll see that none of them was developed within the construction industry. And that is a key factor, because if we pick any of this model and try to implement it within a construction organization, we might not get the expected results. It therefore became important to contextualize these different models within the construction space. So what we did was to review each of these models, look at what exists within these models, and then come up with the key areas that we can now use to serve as the basis for what we're delivering. And following critical review, we were able to see that 4 key areas emanate from these 11 different models. And I'm just going to break them down in the next slide. So we've reviewed what is existing. We need to now come up with something within the construction industry itself, something that is applicable to the construction industry. And based on those review models that have been done in different other sectors, we're able to note that technology kept on repeating itself. The concept of technology, which cut across the digital, the physical, and the biological technologies that are applicable in the construction industry, is also important for construction organizations that want to achieve digitalization. All factors relating to technology is measured under the technological capability. Issues around optimization of these technologies, creating a synergy between these technologies and existing resources within the organization in order to allow seamless transformation from analog to digital approach becomes very important. And these becomes part of the technology capability that needs to be measured. We also discovered that the people dimension is very key. Now, this dimension encompasses all activities directly related to people, including employees, employers, as well as construction clients. For those of us that have looked at existing studies, we'll realize that it has been said over and over again, construction is heavily dependent on people. Construction is driven by people. It therefore makes sense to be able to bring in the people into these capabilities to see how do we manage them carefully in order to avoid the resistance to change that we've witnessed in terms of the challenges facing the industry. So the people's dimension became a critical aspect. Also, from existing studies, we realize that the process that an organization takes in delivering its product is crucial towards how they adopt different technologies and how they implement these technologies to be able to deliver their services efficiently. From the construction perspective, we looked at the project management knowledge areas, which are 10 in numbers. And if we are able to digitalize those 10 processes, we are one step towards achieving digitalization within construction organizations. So we're talking about digital cost management, schedule management, resource management, value management, change management, risk management. If we're able to digitalize all these processes, then we are on the right path towards achieving digitalization. And lastly, from existing studies, we realize that the strategy that an organization adopts is very crucial. In fact, there was a study that noted that the availability of technology is not as important as organization employing the right strategy to use this technology effectively. So we rooted this strategy in the dynamic capability theory, which is an offshoot of the resource-based view theory, which notes that every organization have the capability to be able to use its unique resources to achieve a competitive edge over their competitors. And based on that, we found that construction, being a business space also, is important for us to have the right strategy in order to adopt this technology correctly. And if we have the right strategy, we will be able to sense, seize, and reconfigure our existing resources in order to promote digitalization within the organization. Based on these 4 areas, we had the basis for a capability maturity model that we wanted. However, like I said earlier, if we use these capabilities just the way they are, because they were drawn from other industries, they might not fit correctly within the construction space. Because construction is dynamic, the industry itself is complex. We need to look at the peculiarity of the industry before designing a model that will fit within this industry. And studies have shown that construction industry within developing countries is littered with small and medium organizations, most of whom cannot afford to be able to deliver projects without the financial backing from the client. Now, because these organizations don't have the right resources, adopting digital technologies might be a problem. And based on this understanding, we felt it is better for an organization to be able to partner up with others that have complementary resources that they can use and tap into. And then the concept of digital partnering was introduced. Similar to the normal partnering that we all know in terms of procurement, it is the same thing, but in this case, we are using shared resources in order to deliver projects effectively, but at the same time being digitalized in the process. So we've conceptualized digital partnering as a long-term commitment between 2 or more organizations to achieve digital transformation by maximizing effectiveness of each other's partners' digital resources. In developing the different sub-capabilities within this area, we looked at the Nystrom's partnering flower theory, which then gave us the different core and attributed variables within the digital partnering concept. What we're saying here is that if a construction organization does not have the right capabilities, all they need to do is to identify those that have the right capabilities, partner up with them to be able to carry out projects that ordinarily they would not have been able to do on their own, and also now through that process achieve digital transformation. Aside partnering, I said earlier that the industry itself is dynamic. So the concept of the environment becomes very important, the environment where construction businesses operate. Now, we rooted this aspect of environment within the institutional theory, which says that every organization is influenced by some coercive, mimetic, or normative pressures within their environment. Every organization will come under pressure from the government in terms of legislation, will come under pressure from their client in terms of what the client wants, and also suppliers within the industry and other stakeholders. So if we are able to handle this pressure correctly, it is believed that we might be able to become digitalized in the process. And based on this digital partnering and environment, we've been able to create a contextualized model that construction organizations can now use to effectively achieve their digitalization journey. And this gave birth to the DCMM 1.0 that we developed in order to promote digitalization within the construction industry. Based on this DCMM 1.0, we're currently working on an application that construction organizations can easily install and use that to be able to measure their digital capability. A more comprehensive look is what we have here to show the different capability areas and the movement between each level of maturity, from maturity level 1, which is an initiating level, so maturity level 5, which is an optimizing level. What we've designed here is now left for construction organizations to be able to use this and contextualize it within their own space and see what applies and what does not apply within their own environment. We should be able to measure an organization's capabilities right from the technology, people, process to the environment using a 5-scale maturity level like we have here. We do not expect every construction organization to be on the same level or to be at level 5 of an optimizing level, but at least have some form of growth based on the different interventions being put in place. When we first of all carried out this study, we realized through expert opinion, many organizations are still around level 2 and level 3. And this is not just applicable to developing countries alone, it's also applicable to some developed countries, where people are still around the repeated level where they are learning, or a defined level where they've gotten to a point that they understand. At that point, that digitalization concept, and they're trying to build upon that to move forward. Coming to developing countries context, we expect organizations to be able to use this and measure where they are and try to see what to do in order to get to the next level, because the optimum level, which is the optimization level, is what we're looking for within these different capability areas. So based on what we've looked at, based on the different capabilities, what does the Construction 5.0 hold for construction organizations? I've been talking more about the Construction 4.0, how digitalization is important, how understanding these capability areas are important. 5.0 itself is centered around human and robot collaboration. Construction 5.0 tries to harmonize the relationship between human expertise and technological capabilities. The end game here is to ensure that we are able to alienate this fear of machines taking over our jobs. We're able to bridge the divide between the social dimension of the SDG goals and the use of technologies within our society. There has been this fear of the fact that with time, robots are going to take over everything, and then humans will become slaves to robots. But the truth is, this is not the reality we have if we have the concept of Industry 5.0 and Construction 5.0, where both the robots and humans are able to meet to have a logical delivery of our construction projects. Construction 5.0 will prioritize human-centric design, human-machine collaboration, promotes greener economy, and fuel societal transformation. Over time, we've seen architects, engineers coming up with designs that has been given, that is designed based on the software that is being used. Parameters based on what the technology is saying is what they implement. However, some of these construction projects do not suit the intended users. And what Construction 5.0 is saying is that we must bridge that divide. When we design, it must meet the needs of the people for which they've been designed. And this will create a relationship and a cohesion between humans and robots in the future. However, this envisaged synergy between robots and humans will not come without its own challenges. And some of those challenges include safety considerations. What happens when there's an accident on site due to collision by robots? What if there's a malfunction? What happens? These are some of the things we now need to start thinking about. And for researchers in the house, these are some areas that we might want to start considering to look at for a forward-looking research or a future-thinking approach towards being relevant within the context of Construction 5.0. Also, ethical considerations. How do we use these technologies ethically? How do we create an ethical environment where construction technologies are not exploited to the point that human services become unwanted? Currently, we're working on a book on ethical use of digital technologies for a sustainable future, and we hope that these will also help to lend a voice towards the ethical considerations of the use of technologies in Construction 5.0 going forward. We might have issues of redefining the workforce. We've said there is the concept of or the problem of resistance because people think robots will take their jobs. We now need to redefine our thinking on the thinking of the construction workforce to be able to understand that the job of technology is to make our own job as humans easier and make us better managers than hands-on laborers. Currently, we did a book on construction workforce management in the fourth industrial revolution, and this was able to promote some practices that are needed in order to alienate these fears of humans in terms of technological advances. And lastly, as always, we'll always have issues of financing. Investment in technology is very important. We all know developing countries have small and medium organizations, but if we want to be digitalized, then organizations cannot shy away from investing in these technologies. And this is what we're going to look at in the future. This is what we expect to happen in the future. We can't shy away from it. Technology will meet humans, and then we need to work together for a better construction project. And that is where the concept of 5.0 comes to play. So going forward, we hope to be able to build upon DCMM 1.0 to have this DCMM 2.0, where we look at what other capabilities are out there. Construction 5.0 is upon us. It will definitely come. What other capabilities do we need within our organizations to be able to contribute meaningfully within this new industrial, this new revolution coming? We've looked at the people dimension already, which is critical to Construction 5.0, but there is a possibility that other capabilities might also shape the way construction will perform when we get to Construction 4.0. To conclude, Construction 4.0 is characterized by digitalization and industrialization. 5.0 itself is human-centric, and we need to have the right capability to be able to meet this human-centric and human and robots collaboration or relationship in order for us to be digitally matured. We cannot shy away from the fact that many organizations in developing countries are still slow in adopting technology, but we need to also understand that without having the right capabilities or the roadmap towards achieving the right capabilities, the concept of digitalization or digital transformation within many construction organizations in developing countries will still be on the back foot. If we are able to adopt technology, people, process, strategy, digital partnering, and environment capabilities, we should be able to achieve this digital transformation that we look forward to, and hopefully be able to use existing technologies in more meaningful way to deliver better projects in the future. Thank you very much, and I hope I did not take too much time. Thank you very much, and I think that wraps up my story for this evening. Mr. Fortune?
Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you very much for having me this evening.
That was a very enlightening message. And we want more of this if we have several other editions of this lecture. But now we want to open the floor for questions. We have 20 minutes of questions. If you have questions to ask, we let us know. Any question, please? There's no question for the presenter.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Please, Najime, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, and also sorry for my disrupt at the first. It was very useful for me. Only I want to know your framework and models that you suggested for construction. In which level? It's for at firm level, at industrial level, for governmental levels, same as country, national, because I can't distinguish between which level you discuss about your model.
Thank you very much for that question. Like I introduced earlier, it's about the construction organizations themselves. So what we've looked at is that organizations, before even going outside, should be able to measure their own capabilities. Hence, we came up with those different areas and also look at how the environment influences organizations in order for them to be able to assess their own capabilities. So it's at the firm level, at the organizational level, for them to have the right roadmap towards digitalization.
Okay, then it's for firm level and not matter for a small firm or a large firm. No, not differences.
There's no differences, irrespective of the size of the organization. The different variables we've introduced in the model has encompassed all different capabilities of small, medium, and large firms. However, organizations now need to be cautious of what applies to them and what does not apply as they go along.
Yeah, because as you know, for adoption of new technologies in small companies has sometimes more challenges than large company. Because of this, I ask you, it's not difference with level, with size of the firms.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The adoption of technologies within small organizations would not be the same with large organizations. And that was why I said we have 5 different levels. We don't expect small organizations to be at the same level with large organizations, but the different criteria within these dimensions or capability areas will help the organizations to say, this applies to me and this does not. The app we're developing also is designed to be for organizations to be able to assess what applies to them. And based on what applies to them, we are now proposing initiatives that can now help them to attain the next level of digitalization.
Okay, I got it. And also, sorry, I have another question. You explain about some level for ready of organizations and firms for adoption new technologies, but I'm not sure I miss it or you didn't tell about for each level which type of technologies should be used, because you only talk about the strategy, the process, the people, and environment, but which type of new technologies for adoption in each of these factors we should use for construction organization?
Okay, thank you very much. The technology aspect of this model in terms of the capabilities encompasses optimization of different technologies. Within the model, if you saw when I was talking about the full space, there were some variables that were highlighted. And within those variables, you have your Internet of Things, your 3D printing, big data analytics, augmented reality, virtual reality, all the visualization tools. So what we're saying is that if I am an construction organization, I'm small, I have the small capacity, I might not be able to adopt all these technologies. All these technologies have been noted. What I need to do is to say, this is what I've been able to adopt. If I partner up with somebody else, we should be able to adopt another technology. So if we are using Internet of Things, for example, I partner up with another organization that have the capability to use robotics, then I am improving my capability in terms of the technology dimension. So each of these different technologies have been carefully highlighted within the technology capability for organizations to pick as applicable within their firm. I don't know if that clarifies your question.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Najma. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, Miss Zana, please go ahead.
Yes, I do have a question regarding you mentioned about the aspect of adoption of these technologies at the from various firms, but is there a correlation between the incentives that we get from government and also from the customers and the client themselves for us to have full adoption of these technologies?
Yes, if we look at the environmental capability dimension, we said there are three different things we need to consider. The influence of the government in terms of legislations and what the government is supporting. Also the client, which is a construction client, plays a key role because a client's impact can be felt in terms of deciding whether I want this technology or I don't want that technology, and organizations need to also put that into consideration. Same thing when it comes to the different suppliers. So the aspect of those different influences or the different incentives from those external areas have been looked at within the environmental dimension. And we're saying that organizations need to be careful. An incentive can drive them into adopting, and without that incentive, they might be demotivated to adopt those technologies. So this is adequately catered for within the environmental aspect of the model that was developed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it pretty much means that because also from the client side, because I've noticed in most projects, we usually follow traditional practices.
Yeah.
And I think also there isn't an appetite from the client side for us
Yes.
to implement this technology. So is that usually the bottlenecks? I think maybe it also.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely correct, because when a client envisaged the cost implication of these technologies, they definitely want to resist it. And that was why we said organizations must be able to understand these. These might come as a demotivator. How do we now respond to that? Other factors also come to play. Do we look at the industry regulations, for example? Take your regulatory bodies like your CIDB, the Construction Industry Development Board and the likes. If they are now pushing the agenda of these technologies, even if the clients don't want it, somehow they might be forced also to request these technologies for their buildings or their construction to meet existing standards. So yes, you're right. That's some of the bottlenecks that organizations will face, but we must be able to look for alternatives that will now motivate our adoption of these technologies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other question? Do we have any other question? Okay, Builder Mrs. Aliu, please go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Dr.
Yes, good evening. Yes, I'm here. Good evening, ma.
Thanks so much for the enlightening lecture. I appreciate it. My question or my worry about supposing there is a situation whereby in the collaboration between man and the virus attacks the robot. Definitely the robot will start to misbehave and awesome. Mishap from hazards, accident. So in a situation like that, probably be done. Can such situations be averted? or how do we prepare for such? Because the construction industry only be consuming products, but the maintenance is not our business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I think you were breaking up a bit when you were talking, but I think I got part of the question to say what happens in instances where there's a mishap or there's a malfunction of technologies, or let's say in particular robots on site, and there's a malfunction. How can we, or can it be averted, or what can be done if in that case, because construction is more about consumption, not maintenance. I think that's the summary of your question. If you look at one of the critical challenges I said we will have to deal with as an industry when it comes to Industry 5.0 is safety on site. The truth is there will always be issues, but we need to put in measures in place to be able to address these issues. And I know researches are already being ongoing. Researches are ongoing to be able to advance some of these problems that might occur in the future. Let's don't get it wrong. These technologies are being used already. We've seen robotics being used for plastering, for laying of blocks, not just robotics to carry things to site, but even the mundane task of plastering of walls, painting of walls are already being done using robots. What we can only hope for is the fact that those producing, because there's always that synergy between the manufacturing and the construction industry, those manufacturing these set of technologies will definitely put measures in place, and also going forward create maintenance policies and maintenance guidelines for us to be able to use these technologies effectively. So I wouldn't want us to be more worried about what happens when these technologies break down, because definitely measures will be put in place. We should be more concerned about how do we integrate them effectively within the construction space. I hope that clarifies your question, because we will definitely have issues, but I'm sure policies will always be in place to address these issues, or to create maintenance for these technologies so that we don't have disasters on our hands going forward. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doc. Do we have another question? Builder, Mrs. Ali, are you clear with that, or you want to have a follow-up question?
I'm okay.
Okay, thank you so much, ma. Any other question before we call it a wrap? Okay. If there's no other question, we would like to apologize for the glitches earlier on. In the next program, which comes up next month, we promise to have a better outing. So next month, we are bringing in another guest to come and take us on another topic. So I want to thank every one of us for coming. Thank you for sparing out your time to come for this event. I also want to thank the speaker. Thank you. You told me you're still on campus. We don't take that for granted. So everyone joined from Nigeria, South Africa, and the UK. Thank you all for coming. We hope to see you next time towards the end of next month as well.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
And you too.